E.N.D here. Today I want to give you a list of the most and top rare cards in Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering features thousands and thousands of cards, but this list, this particular list, this is not a top list, this is a particular list. These cards are the most rare cards and therefore are the most sought cards by collectors. They are the holy grail of Magic the Gathering collection, and you can imagine if someone has one of these cards, how much greedy he is to hold this card in his collection. Let's begin our list. When we say rare cards, the first thing that pops in mind is the Power 9. The Power 9 is a list of 9 cards first printed in Alpha, the first set in Magic the Gathering. Out of these cards, there are only 3 versions, Alpha, Beta and Unlimited, and they are very, very rare to find. You have the 5 Moxes, you have the 3 blue spells, and you have, out of them, which in my opinion is the most powerful out of them, the Black Lotus. The Black Lotus, illustrated by the late Christopher Rush. This card is the most power out of them and the most sought out card by collectors. Having said that, Power 9 do come on the market. You still can find cards on eBay, TCG Players, private selling. You can still find someone selling one of these cards. Obviously, we're talking about thousands of dollars, but you still can buy one of these cards. But there is one particular card out of the Power 9 that it is unique. Unique means there is only one of these cards. And we're talking about this card. This card, this is a Black Lotus Alpha. This is a BGS 10 pristine condition. Yes, you heard me well. This is a BGS Beckett pristine 10 condition. Beckett is a grading company for Magic the Gathering. They do great Magic the Gathering cards, and they have very, very strict standards how to grade cards. They are so strict that to get a 10 in pristine condition, the card has to be immaculate. PSA is another company that do great cards for Magic the Gathering. They are not that strict, therefore it's much easier to find a PSA 10 than a BGS 10. And as I have told you, Beckett BGS 10 pristine condition Black Lotus Alpha, there is only one in the world. It is estimated that 1,100 Black Lotuses Alpha have been printed late in 1993, and out of these 1,100, there's only one BGS 10. Can you imagine how valuable this card is? Considering that there is only one card, and considering that it is very difficult to benchmark the value of this card, the only one I found on the market is this. This is a Black Lotus. This is a BGS 9.5. It is not 10. And this card is currently on eBay for $1.5 million. Therefore, I would estimate that a BGS 10 Alpha would fetch a price between $750,000 and $1 million. We're talking million of dollars. We're talking of high-end collectors. We are talking about wealthy collectors, and we're talking about something that 99.99% of the population cannot afford. This is why this card is unique, and if this card will feature on the market, I'm sure this particular card, the Black Lotus Alpha Pristine 10, would not be sold for less than $1 million. Next in our list, the 1996 World Champion card. This particular card was given to the winner of the 1996 World Champion. This card was part of the trophy that at that time was given to the champion, and is obviously part of the trophy. This particular card, it is said that the winner of the 1996 World Champion have sold this card for $17,000 to a private collector. This particular card, illustrated by also Christopher Rush, this particular card, it is a unique card. There is only one of this type printed in Magic the Gathering history. I don't believe that this card will ever be reprinted, even though it's not in the reserve list. And therefore, nowadays, I would value this card for more and much more than $17,000. I would value this card at around $200,000. Obviously, this is a very, very important card for any collector, and whoever holds these cards, I don't think they are so willing to sell this particular card. Next card, we have this particular dragon. This dragon, it doesn't have any type of extremely powerful card. This is the Shippuden Dragon. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. The Shippuden Dragon. It's a 6 and 3 red. It comes into play with 7+1/+1 counters, and for 3 red you can sacrifice 2+1/+1 counter to increase the counter on it. This card, which holds beautiful artwork, no doubt about it, also illustrated by Christopher Rush. Christopher Rush, I think he's the most famous illustrator and artist for Magic the Gathering, has Black Lotus, Lightning Bolt, and this particular card. This card was created to inaugurate the DCI tournament in Tokyo, Japan. There were a couple of hundred printed about this card, and all of them, with the exception of this one, of this particular card, were destroyed. Therefore, destroying all the cards of the Shippuden Dragon, it means that in the world there's only one card out there in the world. One only Shippuden Dragon. Therefore, this is why this is a very extremely rare card. Currently, even though the DCI tournament in Tokyo closed, it's still there. If you want to visit, if you want to see the card, it's still there. It's not part of a private collection, but I would estimate the value of this card for sure to be around $250,000, because it's a unique card in the world. Next, during a summer in 1995, Wizards of the Coast decided to print a revised edition. They wanted to change the printing company, and the new printing company did a mess out of that particular print run. This particular set nowadays is called Summer Magic, or Edgar. Edgar was the code name for this set. When Wizards of the Coast noticed that there were so much printing errors in that print run, in that set, they decided to destroy the whole print. But for a mistake, 40 booster boxes of Summer Magic Edgar were shipped, as I said by mistake, to Ireland and UK, and these boxes were sold to normal players. Nowadays, cards from this particular edition are very rare, considering that only 40 booster boxes were distributed, and probably out of these 40 booster boxes, some of them were heavy played, were destroyed. And as I said, even today, common cards out of this set are extremely rare and are extremely expensive, even the lands. Above that, if common cards are so rare, you can imagine how much the rare cards are extremely rare. Rare cards of Summer Edgar nowadays are being sold for thousands and thousands of dollars. But there are two particular cards out of Summer Edgar that they are extremely expensive only because they have the print mistake. We have here two cards, one Hurricane and one Serendip Ifrit. Both cards have mistakes. Hurricane, it's a green spell. You need X and one forest to deal X damage to flying creatures and players. This particular card should have been green, but it's blue. On the other side, this particular card should have been blue, but it's green. These two cards, because of the printing mistakes, they are the most sought out there. There is a particular market where print mistakes are much valuable. There's a market where this type of oddities go to very high prices. These are the holy grail for that market. Oddities, mistakes and print mistakes. You cannot find better cards than Hurricane and Serendip Ifrit from Summer Magic Edgar. Let's see the last four cards in our list. We have this card. This is called Proposal. Proposal, 4 white. It's a sorcery. Allows Richard to propose to Lily. If the proposal is accepted, both players win. Mix the cards in play, both libraries and both graveyards, as shared deck. This particular card it's only one print. There's only in the world one print of this card, Proposal. This is not the actual art of the card. The actual card of the card was never revealed. This card was printed for Richard Garfield. He played with, at that time, his girlfriend Lily. They played a game of Magic. They played until finally Richard Garfield managed to top deck Proposal, and he cast it to propose to his, at that time, girlfriend Lily to marry him. Therefore, as I said, there's only one card. The art was never revealed. The card was never revealed. There are people who say that the card does not exist. But if this card will ever feature on the market, I'm sure that this card will fetch a high value price. I would assume, because it is close to Richard Garfield, the father of Magic the Gathering, I would assume that this card will have a price tag between $500,000 to even $1 million. There's another card related to Richard Garfield. We have Phoenix Heart. For red, it's a sorcery. Connie and Richard continue the game and play all games as partners forever. This is the second card printed for Richard Garfield. He used this card to propose to his second wife, Connie. Same, there's only one card of this type, Phoenix Heart. And if ever this card will feature on the market, I'm sure it will fetch a high value price. I'm sure Magic the Gathering collectors will be happy to have this card in their collection. As I said, this is high-end cards, this is high-end collection, and 99.99% of the population, I'm sure, including myself obviously, will not afford this type of cards. The next card in our list is Splendid Genesis. Splendid Genesis, 4 green, shuffle all cards in the game together and deal them into 3 decks. The game continues with a new player. This particular card, have been printed for Richard Garfield to commemorate the birth of his first son. This card, there is an estimation of around 200 print of this card, and these cards were given to close family and close friends of Richard Garfield. During the ages, some of these card features on eBay, and the price tag was around $20,000 to $25,000. Considering that nowadays there are only around 200 cards of Splendid Genesis, and considering that these cards are given to close friends and close relatives of Richard Garfield, I'm sure that very few will ever feature on the market, considering that it not only has a high value price, but has emotional value to anyone that is holding this card. Last one, but not least, as I said, this is not a top list. You can choose the card that you think is the most rare out of these cards. This is it's not a top list. This is the last card in our list. Fraternal Exhalation. 4 blue. Sneak into your parents' closet to get a deck. Your new brother is joining the game. This is also a card given to relatives and friends of Richard Garfield to commemorate the birth of his second son. Very few of these cards exist. I think I only saw once one of these cards on eBay for sale. Price tag was around $15,000 or $19,000. It was quite time ago. Nowadays, these two cards, as I said, these two cards, they are not unique like Proposal or Phoenix Hearts. There are a couple of hundreds out of these cards, but these two cards, if they ever feature in the market, will have quite high value. I would estimate that these two cards will fetch a price between $50,000 and $100,000 nowadays. This is the list of the most rare cards in Magic the Gathering. If I have, or you know about a card that is very rare and is not part of the list, can leave me a comment below or send me an email in the description below. I always leave my email. Send me an email, and here there's a subscription button. Subscribe for my channel for more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.